We're back, continuing our focus on the upcoming election. Again, there is one this summer. Garrett Holt joining us now, one of the candidates for District 4 in the County Commission race, and we appreciate you being here. District 4 is this one, covering Bearden, Rocky Hills, Sequoia Hills, Bluegrass as well. Let's talk about why you're running.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, John, my motto in this campaign has been, how do we keep Knox County, Knox County? And I don't mean that in some sort of archaic sense, but as someone who was born and raised here, there's a reason people like myself have chosen to stay in Knox County and plant their roots here. There's a reason thousands and thousands of people are moving to Knox County year after year. And as we continue to grow, as we expect to add nearly 100,000 people in the next 2 decades, that means more demands on our roads, our infrastructure, our school, our emergency services. And we cannot continue to be reactive as a county government. We have to be proactive and start looking at, hey, where do we need to make strategic investments in our county and in our core services to make sure we're keeping up with the Knox County of the future?
Let's talk about some specifics. What would you like to see the county do that it hasn't done or should do in the coming years?
I think what we're currently undertaking with the Advance in Knox initiative is by far the most important thing the county needs to be doing. We are operating under a growth policy plan that's nearly 2 decades old currently, and the Knox County of the early 2000s is a lot different than the Knox County of 2024. So first and foremost, plan. And as we continue to flesh out the growth policy plan that was recently passed at County Commission into a new development ordinance, we have to be really tailored in terms of what are the specific zoning regulations, policies, and investments in our infrastructure that we need to make sure that that Knox County vision we have actually gets materialized. So I think planning and properly acting on those plans is going to be the most critical function County Commission has.
You would have voted for this advanced Knox plan that did pass, the most recent one.
Yes, I would have.
Let's talk about taxes. There's a big concern about the amount of debt service that the county is incurring, and we haven't seen a tax increase in 25 years in Knox County. Is a property tax increase, is that something you'd consider as a commissioner?
I think my #1 goal is to keep Knox County one of the least taxed counties in the state of Tennessee. If you look at Knox County in comparison to the other major metro areas, which are Nashville, Memphis, Chattanooga, they fall in the top 10% of most taxed counties in the state of Tennessee. Knox County currently sits at the bottom 15th percentile. We're on par with Union County. And I'll tell you, that's a reason people find this place attractive to live. And I think as we look towards the conversations of, what are we growing towards, what investments we need to make, at the very least, we have to keep up with inflationary pressures, which are, facing, everybody as well as the county. I think it's a tiered approach. Where can we first get more efficient with spending? Where can we curb? And then if the conversation of a tax increase comes in the next few years, I think it's something we'll have to tackle once we have properly planned expenditures that'll correspond with that.
Let's talk quickly about raises for teachers and for deputies in particular. Do you think that the current levels are meeting the expectation that we have for those public servants?
I think as it stands right now, yes, but we've made a lot of positive improvement. Sheriff Spangler vied for much needed raises last year in 2023. We just passed new raises for our educational professionals. And I think, where we sit right now, is it good? Yes. But what I hear from people when I'm out in the community is that we're losing both educational professionals and emergency service professionals to surrounding municipalities. People are leaving for better pay, lower expectations in work, and we have to continue to be a competitive employer in Knox County if we want to attract and retain good quality talent in both arenas.
Thank you for making time for us to get to know you a little bit and our viewers to get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Best of luck in the election.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, John.
Absolutely. We're going to turn it over to Chief Meteorologist Todd Howell, who has a Chamber of Commerce kind of day for Knoxville and Knox County. Todd.